Alright, welcome back to the Pocket Dimension, where today we'll be painting all the things. Current project is, of course, some troops for the Battle of Saratoga that my club is going to be hosting in July. So I'm gonna keep on working, keeping on with these little dudes here. So it's getting fuzzy, isn't it? Maybe it's a white balance issue. I mean, that could be crushing out the white there. That's a better resolution down low. But let's see if we can get it to focus up a little bit better here. I don't know. I need new and better. What are you doing back there, pumpkin? Sneaking under the shelves again? All right. Hey, DD, how you doing? Yes, it is all lies and slander. That's what we do here. We deal in lies and slander. Yeah, I think I need to get a better camera set up eventually. Good to see you, Dee Dee. So, how'd your stream go last night? I was gonna stop in and watch, but I got busy with some things around the house here. I just got a new cabinet, so I can. I worked out a spot by the bathroom where I needed some storage for like things like TP and towels, basically a linen cabinet. I needed a linen cabinet, so I got a new cabinet in, and I assembled it last night, and I was gonna put it in place this morning, but I slept. I slept really. I slept a long time today. Got some rules for my skirmish game set up for alpha testing. Wasn't too bad. Nice, awesome, very cool. That sounds exciting. So this is the progress I've made so far. So we're gonna keep on working on today. Now, I had intended on giving these guys turnbacks and cuffs yellow. The red's okay. I think I'll leave these guys red instead of fixing that. But going on, I think I'm going to go with yellow. So, I'm going to set these, cue these up over here by the computer. And we'll get onto it. Get on it here. We'll get on it, doggone it, as some commentators like to say. So are you, is your skirmish game going to be 40K adjacent? Or are you trying to make it work with all sorts of everybody's toys? OPR is doing some interesting things with everybody else's toys, it seems. Alright. Mini agnostic, excellent. Making some lore for it, but that's not going to be the focus for the first set of rules. Sure, Sure. Some people like that lore. I mean, I think, honestly, I think most games could be, I don't know, like OPR, right? OPR is sort of an alternate set for using your 40k stuff with, but they have some quote-unquote lore. But if you're using your 40k models with another set, you can still have that headcanon, and you're still playing in the 40k universe, if you will, if you know what I mean. You don't need somebody to tell you what a Space Marine is for. I'll do lore drops, but nothing solid. Yeah, a little paragraph here or there, a weird little quote. You can repurpose things from history. I was thinking of doing some Iron Warriors for their rules. Cool. Well, I do love me some Iron Warriors. Ron Warriors. Hello, my name is Ron Warriors. Ron Warrior. Alright. What I should do is I should give these a little undercoat of ochre before I put the yellow down. But we'll see how it looks after it's dried. Yellow over gray primer always tends to turn a little green, I think. The newer named Iron Warrior, Iron Warrior, here to support your endeavors. Of course, there you go. Yeah, I need to get back on to working on my little rule set. Just been unable to. You know how it is. You know, now that I'm an adult, I can do all the things that I want to do, except when I can't. Like the Iron Warriors Combat Patrol, but I think I'd sand off all the fancy chaos stuff they wouldn't have. Yeah. I agree. Well, I kind of got sidetracked by this project for the club game. So in July, we're going to be doing a Battle of Saratoga game. And I believe we're using Regimental Fire and Fury as the rule set. And the gentleman asked me if I wanted to paint some figures up for it. Since it's a club effort, I figure, sure, why not? Give me a couple dozen, give me a dozen or two figures to paint up. So I am. So we're doing that. Kind of distracted me from what I wanted to do, which was finish up some of this stuff for Alpartha. Not that it's a bad thing to be distracted, but I mean, I've got time. It's just one of those things, you know. Ochre. I need some ochre. Ochre is a good base for yellow. So I'm going to put some of that out. That way it's not quite so sickly looking yellow going out on there. I'll do a base of this before I do the yellow. It's a little extra work, but it's going to see how so I was able to get kind of a bright yellow here. But then I went here, and this is just so green and sickly looking. If I'm going to do two coats, I might as well do a base coat first, and then brighten it up with actual yellow. I got some 3D minis printed coming in that I'm going to paint for my skirmish game. It's going to be cyberpunk, but none of the neon light stuff. It's going to be industrial and gritty. Nice, DD. Very cool. Nice. It's that's kind of cool. That's a nice kind of break away from the 40K adjacent rules writing sort of thing that most people are doing these days. There aren't too many. There don't seem to be too many cyberpunk rules out there right now. I can think of maybe 2, maybe 3 other cyberpunk rule sets. There's, of course, the cyberpunk stuff that Monster Fight Club has come out with, which is all based on Mike Pondsmith's games from R. Telsorian. And then there's another one I'm thinking of. I can't remember its name. Right offhand. But yeah, I think that's a neat little space to explore there. DD. Oh, Infinity. Infinity's kind of a cyberpunk-ish sort of game. It's got a lot. If it's not exactly cyberpunk, it's very cyberpunk adjacent. It has a lot of those elements in it. Borrowing a lot from things like Ghost in the Shell. Sure. I think like Ghost in the Shell, Apple Seed, Pat Labor, a lot of those 90s animes would probably have a lot of material that you could crib. A lot of inspiration there. Ah! Fumble fingers. Now, why am I fumble fingering this? Well, because I don't think that this would actually fit. Oh, well, no, it might fit. It might fit on here. Look at that. Look at that. I'd never tried this. Three sessions of working on these guys and 4 sessions or whatever it's been, and I never tried putting it on the handle. Or maybe I did and I didn't like it at first. Huh. Look at that. Yeah, it's a popsicle stick. So far, my lore deals with people getting cyber eyes. For a lot of them, the only human part is their brain. Yeah, that is a popsicle stick. I think I did it because it felt like it was going to pop out. See, like that? I think I felt like it was going to pop out. So that's probably why I didn't do it. Now that I'm thinking of it. But yeah, it's a popsicle stick. That's the only way to really get a handle on these. Get a handle on. Ha ha ha. I made a pun and I didn't even know it. Didn't even intend to make a pun there. But it's the only way to get a handle on some of these smaller figures is put them on popsicle sticks and paint them and batch paint them. So go back over this with that ochre there. Well, yeah, there isn't a whole lot of surface area there to grab on, but this old stick, this old handle has, like, they're angled in, even though the popsicle stick is not angled. There is enough, because it's a 1/16 of an inch thick, and that's about a 1/16 of an inch right there. So yeah, there is just enough to hold on there. But I still have to be a little ginger with it. So if I pressure too hard here, I think I'd fling this stick right off into oblivion here. So I kind of braced my little finger, my little index finger here, to hold it down. Because I just popped it right off. So it seemed to help sort of, but not really. I mean, I got 80% of that done before I wound up popping it off there. It just feels, it's a little too stressful. A stress saving device is now actually a little too stressful for me to use. Go figure, right? Like with the round bases, it has more to grab on, forcing all the pressure back onto the base holding. Yeah, yeah, DD, right. So with the round bases, it's got that cut out, but it's also, you know how like the 40K bases have that angle to them. So it has the angle right here to match in to kind of grip onto the angle there, and then it has that little divot right there. And it also, on the round bases, it tends to hold here on the larger pieces, the larger ones. So this small area tends to give everything a little bit more force. So but yeah, I follow you. We're swimming in the same water there. All right, here we go. Painting the same thing over and over again. That's what I like to do. Finally got an airbrush. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. When we meet up this August, hope to have a beta of my game ready. Excellent. Excellent. I would like that very much. Well, we should probably firm up a date for that. That's what, 3 months, 3 months away. Indeed. Thinking of a day ending in Y. Yeah. Yeah, any day ending in Y is pretty good for me. Except the one day, except those 5 days that end with Y's during the middle of the week. Those are already spoken for. Yeah, those days are dumb. Yeah, those days kind of get in the way of the things I like to do. And the worst part about it is the best ideas always hit me just before I leave the house. Especially on the first day of the week. I'll get like a really cool idea for something, and then it's like, well, I can't do anything about it right now, and even if I take a moment and write it down, I'll forget about it even after writing it down, and it's just it is what it is, though, I guess. It's why nobody can ever do anything that they want to do, is because we're so distracted with the things we have to do. The obligations to other people and our regular everyday job, as much as I hate to say it, is an obligation to other people. But it pays for the roof over our heads and the food on our clothes. You should find a hotel with a decent area of tables, probably about 30 or somewhere there somewhere. Yeah, I would say like most anything that has like a decent conference room. Or even their breakfast nook. Like most Holiday Inns actually have pretty good little business area. Usually anything that has a breakfast area has tables. So Uh, yeah, very true. We could, or we could share a room. I don't care one way or the other. Whatever you want to do. Whatever you're most comfortable with. Probably be cheaper for both of us if we split the cost, if we split a room. But we can chat about that later on here next couple of days. All right. So looking at these guys' uniforms, trying to find a clear reference online, I really didn't find much of anything. So, at least not according to what they were labeled as in the bag. But the headgear looks like some gear from, similar to some headgear that was also in the French and Indian War, worn by the British. So you could actually paint these guys up in red and probably have a decent force for the AWI British, or not AWI, but FIW, French Indian War. So, oh, my hand. But it's funny because everybody thinks that all the headgear back then, everybody was just wearing tricorn hats. But that's actually not the case. A lot of interesting, lots of different sorts of headgear back then. Dee, 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 dee. The puppy desires attention. Yep, absolutely. Dee, 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 lee, lee. Now see this part right here, that is a little tiny molding issue right there, where it looks like the mold actually got torn. But I don't really know what to do about that. Especially now that I've primed everything and painted. I guess I could go back and fix it, but then again, this is not to win competitions. This is not a competition painting piece. This is a let's get it on the table. And little things like that are going to not be noticed in the grand scheme of things. So I'm not going to worry about it right now. All right. Oh. After I get this next line of guys painted up here, I think I will probably take a little break. Stretch a little. Like I said, I woke up later than I expected today. Well, I woke up early. I woke up earlier than I wanted to. I was like, well, I can lay here for a little while longer. So I put on some music. And next thing I know, I woke up at 10:30. And I was like, well, rats. Made me mad because it was like, well, that was just too late. On the weekends, I like to get McDonald's breakfast, like the big breakfast at McDonald's. That's just a long time tradition for me. But they stopped serving at 10:30, so I couldn't get ready and get out the house and get breakfast there. So I was like, well, maybe I'll go get something at T-Ho's. But not right now. So I laid back down and I rested for a little bit. I was just going to doze with my eyes shut for a minute or two. I was feeling very lazy. Next thing I know, I'm waking up at 1 o'clock. It's 1:30. Like, well, rats. So that was how my morning went. It was not the morning I wanted. Puppers, puppers. So if you're just joining in, you're watching now, I'm painting up some 15mm Blue Moon figures for the American War of Independence. These guys are for an upcoming game from my club. We'll be hosting in July, representing the Battle of Saratoga during the American War of Independence. I'm hearing strange noises from the other room. I better go check on Pumpkin here. You are back. Just in time for me to go check on Pumpkin. I'm hearing some strange noises in the other room. I need to go see what kind of mischief he's getting himself into. I will be right back. Hold the fort down, DD. I'll be right back. All right. Slow blink like he's doing nothing. Okay. All right. It was nothing. It was nothing. He was just clawing the back of the couch, as he does from time to time. Oh well. Oh, now he thinks he's going to come in here. I just heard him get down. Let's see. I'm going to give you something. No, that's not what I want to do. Trying to figure out how to turn you into a mod, DD. Can't do it here. I'm going to have to do it another way. Yeah. No, I think I did. I think I turned you into a mod. Yep. Yep. I did it because you've been around for a long time. You know my standards on the channel here. And think of, I can't always get to, like, I can't always get to bots and the like, so I'm giving you a sword in order to strike down the bots on my behalf. Don't worry, you don't have to be here all the time. You will have it when you, but when you're here, you're family. Hello, Pumpkin. Pumpkin has come to grace us with his hair. I could have just left you well enough alone, huh? You were like, oh, I'm relaxing here on the back of the couch now, Dad. Oh, you noticed me? You must want me to come into the pocket dimension. I see. Okay. All right. So let's see if I can get some yellow paint on my cat's hair. Butterfingers. He'll never shoot straight again. All right. Does it meet with your approval? All right. So, if you want fantasy minis, tabletop-worthy fantasy minis, well-detailed and inexpensive, check out my friends at nextlevelminiatures.com and use my code ROCKET5, ROKKIT, followed by the number 5, ROCKET5, for 5% off your first order at Next Level Minis. Next Level Miniatures, made right here in St. Louis, Missouri. American made. Check them out. Inexpensive miniatures for the discerning gamer. What? What? Meh. You say, what? What is it, Pumpkin? You're just going to lay down there by my feet? Huh? Is that what you're going to do? You're going to lay down there by my feet? All right, that's a good bunch right there. Oh wow, what scale are these? Oh no, they're 28s. They're 28s. So they're comparable to Reaper, but they're considerably more inexpensive. I mean, Reaper's got an inexpensive product, but Next Level is even a little bit better on price, I think. I have some of their stuff around here somewhere, but I have not been able to locate it on short order. I thought I had it in this box right here from Beldoro Studio, but this is something completely different. So I've got them stashed away. They aren't. Well, the 3D renders and the miniatures themselves are pretty well spot on. So you see one, you're seeing the other. They're using Siocast, I believe. Some people don't like that, but I like it. It's not a bad product. I don't know why people have such a visceral hate of it. I've never had any problems with it. But yeah, they've got some good sculpts. Their dragons are extremely inexpensive. Comparable to Reaper, I guess, but slightly better even. Well, I mean, it's just an injection molded thermoplastic resinous. It's I think it's actually nylon based rather than PVC based. I know I've got some figures here made out of it somewhere. I know I've got some of their stuff here nearby. Picked up some last year at Origins. But so the yellow over the ochre works so much better than just the yellow on top of the gray primer or white primer as it is. It gives a little bit more depth. To an otherwise shallow bright color. Gives a little bit more warmth to it as well. They're up there or better than Reaper Black? Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I mean, they're very much an unsung company, I think. They're very unsung. And their prices for single figures are much better than Reaper's. Even the Reaper Bones stuff, the single figures have gone up much further in price than I think it's worth. Don't get me wrong, I still buy from Reaper. No, I still like to get that free figure from time to time. Especially, I think this month's figure is pretty neat. But Next Level, I think overall, if you want just a single figure, it's a couple of bucks. They do have a free shipping threshold that's slightly higher than Reaper's free shipping threshold. But Reaper's not giving me a 5% off discount for my friends for their first order. So yeah, feel free. Definitely do. And don't forget my code, ROCKIT5, ROKKIT 5, the number 5. But I'm having a hard time finding the WizKids dragons lately. I always like painting those up. But I think the next level miniatures dragons are pretty good. Pretty nice looking figures. IMHO. Alright, that looks a lot better. That yellow goes on over that ochre. And even though it's pro acryl and it has the yellow's fairly good at coverage, it still needs a little help with that brown, that more brown undertone of ochre. So, yeah, that looks a lot better. Pumpkin must got bored. He's gone. Where'd you go? He's gone to do something cat-wise, I'm sure. I don't really have any stories to tell today. I'm sorry, folks. Don't really have anything interesting to say. At the moment, no big stories, nothing. Nothing really too fantastic. Should tell about how I have nothing to tell us. Yes. I have nothing to say at the moment. Other than I'm really enjoying painting these little guys up. 15 millimeters are, I won't say that they're simple to paint. They can be just as tedious as a larger figure. I shouldn't say tedious, that's not the right word. You can put in as much time on 115 as you do on a 28, depending on how far you want to take it. But sculpts for the historicals have always had a little bit of problem. There have been various issues over the years, whether they were just blobby sculpts or inaccurate sculpts, or like these sculpts they're listed as 7th Light Continental Infantry. Well, looking up 7th Light Continental Infantry, I did not see anything that was specific to them. And this particular uniform, or at least this particular hat, seemed to be more of Lafayette's outfit. And they didn't show up until they weren't mustered up until 1781. And Lafayette's troops were not at Saratoga. So I could have painted them hot pink and still been just as accurate. Repurpose my Legionnaires and make them Iron Warriors. Cool. You can do that, DD. You can do that. They're your miniatures. Although I wouldn't say too loud. I mean, the GW ninjas will hear you, and then they'll come and take your things and break your stuff. No, the Warhammer 30K stuff is also good for Iron Warriors. Looks really good painted up in that scheme. What are you playing with over there, Pumpkin? Hey, stop chewing on the plastic. You always find that stupid... You always find one stupid little piece of plastic. How in the world do you find that? I thought I cleaned up everything over here. Where does this come from? Chewing on a piece of cellophane. Silly boy. How many... No, too many girly pop figures being painted. Like your cat always finds tape? Yeah. Yeah. I don't know where he finds stuff. It's like, where did that come from? Fur babies, almost like real babies. Now, actually, the funny thing about pink is a lot of hussars used pink as part of their jacket, their colors, because back in the day, pink was actually considered a very bold, very manly color because it was bright. So there were a lot of uniforms, especially Eastern Europe, that incorporated pink. It's only been within the last 125 years or so that pink has become synonymous with girly things. Because of hospitals. Hospitals needed a way to tell boy babies from girl babies. So they started putting them in blue and pink. Because they're contrasting colors. A soft pastel blue. So you could have red and blue. But if you have but red was a little too harsh. So they went with pink. So a pastel blue for little boys and a pastel pink for little girls. That's how they were able to tell them. Because up until, and really even up until the 40s, babies, they didn't really have boys and girls fashions for babies. Babies were all put in sort of a nightgown looking thing. Up until they were actually old enough to start walking and wearing pants, or trousers or shorts or whatever. So it would be 3 years old before you wore a pair of pants or a pair of shorts. It's the look at me, I'm a target color. Yep, very much. Very much. But back at that time period, it was less about concealment and more about where are my troops on the battlefield. So there was a lot of, I need to see where my guys are as opposed to their guys. So we need to have bright colors for identification purposes. It was a lot more important than cover and concealment. In fact, the general, the brigadier general, who was in charge of the most northern end of Gettysburg at Culp's Hill, had his men build up a redoubt and make cover, to which he was criticized by the other generals, who said, hey, you're constantly building fortifications. You're going to give the men will not be as courageous in their fighting if you give them fortifications. Well, the brigadier general was an engineer anyway, so he was like, well, I'll do what I need to do to be able to secure my position. And he held that position after 3 assaults. There were several nighttime assaults as well on Culp's Hill, and he was able to hold them off with inferior numbers. There was a whole regiment coming up against his outfit, and he was severely under strength because they had, I believe it was Meade, whoever was in charge, the high mucky muck on the Union side at Gettysburg, had siphoned off troops from this guy's position up at the what you might call the fish hook, and siphoned off his guys to reinforce other units on down the line. So he was in a weak position already. But his foresight in fortifying his position was what kept the Confederacy from taking the north end of Culp's Hill and rolling down the Union line. It's often called the Forgotten Flank because everybody knows about the southern end down by Devil's Den and Little Round Top and the 20th Maine. Well, a lot of that happens to be because Joshua Chamberlain was he was a learned man, college professor, and he wrote about everything after the war. And as you do with war memoirs, you tend to build yourself up. Oftentimes, these guys would. And so the northern end, the fish hook, held by the New York regiments, is not something that's often talked about. But it was just as desperate on that end as it was on the south end. And they had to deal with nighttime raids. So and they were under strength. The 20th Maine was not under strength, except by normal attrition. And they had the Wisconsin right there on their right side, so they had a good position. They could see what was coming. All their fighting was done during the day. And that's not to minimize the effort by any means, but the northern flank was handled a lot of things that people don't know about, but yet it's called the Forgotten Flank. They all lined up anyway, hard to miss, yes. Well, they were shooting smoothbore, so once the round left the muzzle, after about 75 yards, it was skewing off left, right, up and down anyhow, so precision shooting at 100 yards was an impressive thing back at that time. What's up, Pumpkin? Back at the feet, huh? You got bored doing what you were doing? Probably went and used the bathroom and then came back, didn't you? Went to the litter box, came back. Yeah. Acting like a person. I gotta go do the thing. Then he comes back to where he was before. Oh, look at that. I missed a couple of spots here with the ochre when I was doing the color thing here. Missed a couple of spots there. Almost fumble fingered there. So there are buttons on these. I don't think I'm going to paint the buttons though. They're just way too small. Kind of pointless. Again, I'm painting for tabletop quality, not competition level. Quite honestly, these sculpts, the castings need some work anyway, so they wouldn't be very good for competition level painting anyway to begin with. But at this scale, 15, 10, 6 millimeter, surprising. It is very surprising to see how well three-dimensional printing, 3D printing has come for the smaller scales of the hobby. these older style hand sculpts, while they're interesting and fun, are also a little blobby and hard to parse out exactly what is what and what things are supposed to be where. So I think there needs to be another coat of yellow on those guys. Yellow jackets, they're the musicians. But we'll deal with that after the first coat is dry. So the question is, do I redress these guys? I don't know. That's the answer. I don't know. I kind of don't want to because I've already got them. So I'm going with the story that Continental uniforms were very ad hoc. What you see is what you got, and what's the old saying? You get what you get, and you don't pitch a fit. And I think I will go ahead and correct it. I think I will go ahead and correct that. Though the red is pretty snazzy looking. It is pretty snaz looking. So musicians always wore the reverse of their regiment colors. So if you had a blue jacket with yellow turnbacks and cuffs, the musicians would get a yellow jacket with blue turnbacks and cuffs. Which, when it comes to wearing red, and the enemy's wearing the red, it could cause problems. So I think towards the end of the Napoleonic era, they kind of changed it and just said musicians wear the color of their regiment all the way through. It was funny because the another one of those, hey, if we shoot that guy, then it'll be a lot harder for the commander to issue orders to his guys. Yes, there's that. There's that. But also a case of blue on blue, you know. If you're in a hand-to-hand, as they this period often degraded to, you know, you're a couple, 2 or 3 volleys, and then bayonet charges, and your musician is in there, and they're wearing colors opposite your regiment, but your regiment colors are basically opposite the enemy's colors. So let's say you wear a red coat with blue facings, and the enemy's color is a blue coat with red facings, say French, or in this case Americans, and your musicians have the opposite color of the regiment, which is the same color of your enemy. And you are in hand-to-hand, and the musicians in hand-to-hand. You could wind up ending your own musician. I'm sure it happened more than once. Mistaken identity. And what's funny is it was actually considered bad form to target officers specifically. So whether that was ensigns carrying the standards or the musicians, it was considered bad form to specifically target them. All right, DD, thanks for hanging out with me this afternoon. We'll catch you later. We'll talk about our summertime plans here in the next couple of days, and get something firmed up for that. Because after I get done with these guys, I'm going to be painting some stuff for other people, and then I got to get on my Game of Thrones, Fire and Ice sets. Get those painted up. They should go pretty quick. They're already assembled, so that's half the battle right there, right? If I can do it before the weather gets too unbearably hot, priming will be a whiz. If I don't, I'll have to hand prime them all. But, yep, have a good evening, DD. We will catch you later. Now this is one of the few places where I say small figures, small brushes. But even then, I think you could still do a lot of your work with like a number 2. Okay, cool. Alright, let those set up for a while. Get this ivory out, and we'll do a little work on their pants here. So, I painted up those pants already. Everybody from here on back needs to have their pants worked on. Hey, Myar, good to see you. How's it going? Myar, I'm going to do something to you, something really rude. I'm going to give you a sword. You are going to be one of my mods, so that you can kick out bots when they show up. So I have now dubbed you Sir Myar of the Ajnables. So if somebody comes in here spouting all sorts of nonsense and horrible things, you can get rid of them. And since you're here often anyway, well, what you do is you just click on their username and hit report, go through the report status, hit bot, say what time they were on, and then you ban them. So you just either right click on them or long press, depending on your device. But since you're here quite often, I figure might as well put you to work. You know the standards. No foul language, no politics, no proselytism. Alright, we're going to use some ivory on these pants here. Give them a little definition. So I painted the turnbacks and the cuffs today on these guys, Myar. Now I'm going to do up the pants like I was doing up the pants on the other guys the other night. So go through and get the front side first. This just gives a little bit of definition to them, I think. How's your Saturday going, Myar? Got any projects you're working on today? Actually, here in a little bit with my nephew-in-law's graduation. Nice. Very cool. Well, that's a nice. That should be a nice time, I hope. See a young man take his first steps into a much larger world, leaving one part of life and moving into the next. I believe I have a graduation party to go to tomorrow, in fact. So, 'tis the season, as they say. Tis the season. We're having a celebration for him tomorrow as well. Nice. Nice. Yeah, it's kind of exciting seeing kids grow up and moving off into their own, making their own way. It makes you feel old, too. It's like, wow, what happened? I remember when I was that age. I remember what I was doing. I remember the mischief and mayhem I got into, and wouldn't trade it for anything, you know. All those, I guess you call them rites of passage. Rites of passage, you know. You going from one part of life to the next, and when you're young, you have all this hope and excitement, and the way forward is unknown. Life is going to be an adventure from that point. And then you look back, then you get in your 50s and you look back and you go, wow, things went mostly the way I wanted, but also took huge turns that I didn't expect. Yep. Huge turns. That's what we'll say. Unexpected diversions from the course that you thought you had. Sometimes we weather storms. The storms in life come through, and it's like any storm, it can be scary, but eventually it passes. Sun comes out and the birds are chirping. You pick up the debris and you move on. Rebuild and make better. Got that one already. Got those. Got those. Oh, those are already all done. So are these. So that guy's got a sash. He must be a sergeant. The way he's lining. He's got his arm out. He's lining up the line, looks like. So. So what is your nephew-in-law? What is he doing after school? Do you know? Is he gonna go on to college, or is he joining up, or what? What's his plan? Has anybody mentioned it? What is his big plans for the future? Not exactly got a plan. Not really. Anybody said anything? Okay. Well, sometimes you need a year or two to figure out what you want to do, you know. Maybe you can work and save up, and maybe you'll find a trade. You know, nothing wrong with being in the trades. We need the help. For sure. He'll figure it out, I'm sure. Sometimes when you're young like that and everybody's asking you what you want to do with the rest of your life, and you don't really know what you want to do for the rest of your life, you know? And that's okay not to know. It's okay to not be sure. Sometimes it can feel like everybody's putting pressure on you too. And that's not helpful. And then when you do say what you want to do and people say that that's not what they would do if they were you, well, that's too bad, because guess what? You're not them. And they're not you. So, well, what I would do if I were you, well, and guess what? Surprisingly enough, you're not me. So are you going to help me reach my goal, or are you going to just tell me what you would do and poo-poo my idea? And I've dealt with that, where it's like, well, well, if I were you, well, good. Guess what? You're not me. But when you're young, sometimes you don't have the confidence to say that to people. You know? So. And sometimes it feels like nobody's in your corner to help you make a good decision or to support your decisions. So that can be frustrating, and it can set you back. I know it set me back a little bit on my path. Whatever path that was that it took, you know. Felt like I would be ridiculed if I spoke up for myself. At times. Or that my wishes weren't being listened to. My thoughts for my future were not considered at times, felt like. So while it is the most exciting time of your life, it can also be the most confusing time of your life. Filled with people that mean well. As we know, my dad used to say, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. So sometimes people mean well, but they aren't you. They don't know what you know. They don't know how you feel about things. They give advice that they mean well, that is probably not bad advice, and it's probably good to take into consideration, but sometimes it's not helpful, not as helpful as they think it is. Sometimes it's easy to look past young people's ambitions and hopes and dreams and say, well, that would never work because you might not have thought of doing it yourself, or they might have looked into it more than you have. So they might know what they're talking about. So the best thing you can do is help them get where they want to be. And if it's where they want to be, chances are they're going to have a lot more success being where they want to be rather than where you think you want them to be. Not exactly planned, not really anything. Let's see. Notice that these days, unfortunately, many young people don't have very many ambitions. Not saying that there's not anybody that has ambitions. I mean, maybe it seems like the ratio is a little... Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of that is, well, you know, what happened all of society took a step back, you know, for 2 years almost with the pandemic, you know. So I think it's kind of just a after effect of that, where kids in their formative years, 13, 14, 15, 16 years old, were kind of, they needed social interaction. They needed in real life social interaction. They weren't getting that. Everything was done online. Everybody stayed home. Nobody did anything. Nobody went anywhere. Now the fact is that this is crazy. Here's a crazy idea. So malls are closing all over the place. There are really relatively few malls that are open anymore. Now, when I was a young person, now I lived in an area where we didn't have a mall per se. You had to drive at least an hour either to the east or to the west to go to a city that had a mall. But we had car culture, so kids would get their driver's license and they'd cruise up and down the street to meet people, to see their friends, and go hang out. Well, kids don't drive anymore. Mall culture is dead. Nobody goes to the mall anymore because the things that you could buy at the mall, you can buy online now. So in real life shopping is gone. Nobody does that anymore. It's becoming less and less. Just like I was saying the other night, I went to Best Buy, and they didn't. Within 3 weeks, they went from carrying what I wanted to not having it in the store at all. Oh, sure, I could have them order it for me, but no duh, I can order it online myself. So where does that get me? Well, it gives me one more reason to not to leave the house to go out into public. So if we're not giving kids reasons to go out into public, I think we're not serving their best interests in them learning interpersonal relationships and everything is digital. All their friendships are made online. They might only really interact with people through message boards, Discord, and like Blue Sky or Twitter or whatever, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. So I think they're kind of getting a little stunted or stifled, I guess, in their worldviews and their ability to function in the world. So could just be old Uncle JP shouting at clouds too. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but it just seems like that, especially when you try to engage young people, say at various conventions and the like. What do you like to do? What kind of, seeing kids under 20, that haven't started, say, a hands-on hobby is, I mean, there are some, but it's getting to be less and less because everything's digital. People say, "Oh, you're a gamer. What game? What's your favorite?" I had somebody ask me that one time. "Oh, you play games. What's your favorite system? What's your favorite console? PlayStation or Xbox?" I'm like, the tabletop. Tabletop. I've never. Is that an app? Yeah, it's an app. It's about 4 feet wide and 5 feet long. Stands above your kitchen table, your kitchen floor, about 2.5 feet, 35 inches. You put things on it. Oh, you mean like board games? Yeah, kind of like board games. All right, so that's good. Good. Let's see, we're gonna clean up some places that I got a little out of line there. Not that they would ever be noticed, really. Let's see. All right. It's 6:15. I'm going to take a little break. Get a little hydrate. Dehydrate. I've been going since 4. So I'm going to put up the old bio break sign and we are going to take a little break. After these messages. We'll be right back. Alright, we're back. We are back. Back on the attack. Okay. So, what am I doing here? What am I doing next? Alright. Oh, I hadn't thought this far ahead here. What else can we block in here? There's bags on these guys. And different things. So let's go ahead and paint up their cross belts. Let's paint up their cross belts. Thank you, Mark. Good to be back. Good to be back. Almost really need an actual small brush, don't I? This one's starting to hook over anyway. Not that it's seen its usefulness, I think. What is this? Super Detail hobby brush. I think this is a synthetic. This is one of the old Army Painter ones from way back in the day. Go ahead and do the thing. I used the crud out of one of those old hair ones. Yeah. Yeah, I believe it. Army Painter's got some new brushes out that are supposed to be pretty good. So that's kind of neat. Haven't had a chance to try them yet. Of course, brushes are expensive. Generally, I don't really spend too much on brushes. I've got some nicer brushes, but I haven't had the need to break into the nice brushes yet because my old workhorses here have been giving me good enough results for a long time. I guess if I was a high-level competition painter, I might worry a little bit more about it. But I'm a good enough is good enough kind of guy, you know. You. I'll have to go back and touch these up a little bit with the blue, I think. But for the most part, these are looking pretty good. Of course, it depends on how much you want to do on these. You know, how good is good enough? Oof, hand's starting to cramp up a little bit. Take a little break from the painting. My hand is starting to cramp up a little. Oof. So other projects on the board. Lots of projects on the board. Let me just take a moment and look through what we've got here. French and Indian War. British colonial frontiersmen. I need to get a few more of those guys. Rogers Rangers. 8 more of those in the bag yet. And I've got their native counterparts. Woodland Native Americans with rifles. Woodland Native Americans with primitive weapons. A couple of packs of those. Yeah, so that's got 11 guys in it. That's got 8. There's 20, 19, another 20. That's 49, and another 7. That's 56. So 56. Yeah, this scale that I'm doing right now is it's challenging. It's not terrible. It's just holding this whole stick here like this for a long time gets. I was starting to get a little bit of a cramp in my hand there. So I'm just kind of looking at my next little projects. I've got several things that are primed up and ready to go. But I've also got things for other people that I need to complete here. So I've got some monsters to paint for Ralpartha Legacy. Some kind of weird froggy monster thing here. I got it primed up. Where the primer is scraped away, that was a mold line that I'd missed. So here's a griffin. One of the early griffins by Tom Meyer. Very early works. And then a couple of years later, he came up with this one. A much better one. I kind of like the more squared off sort of shape of the head too. So that's another griffin from Tom Meyer. And here's a Quetzalcoatl. I think that's from, I'm not sure what that's from. That is an old Ralpartha figure though. So I'm kind of looking forward to painting the colorful, Quetzalcoatls are considered to have like rainbow colored feathers. So that's going to be a fun one to paint. We'll try that up. I think I could do a lot of blending there. Here's just some sort of critter. We'll paint him up. I'm thinking like a mandrake. And here, this is what we call the angry strawberry. So I'm going to paint him up like a strawberry. So red and green. That's from the Tecumel figures. So those are for Ralpartha Legacy. I'll be working on for those. And here are some more Arthurians. So more Arthurians for Ralpartha Legacy here. Various things. Here's King Arthur himself. Something else there. Left over from another bases. Here's another knight. Another knight. So several things yet to do for Ralpartha Legacy there. And I'm working on some things for Sea Dog Game Studios. I've got a bunch of cannons I've been painting up for them. So this is a big siege mortar. And I've got a whole bunch of other things that I've over here somewhere. I'll have to find them. I had a big bag of cannons. Huge bag of cannons that I had started painting up. And then it got too hot last year, and I set them aside, and I haven't gotten back to them yet. But I don't know where they are. They were sitting here right on my desk. Oh. Here's a bunch of cannons. So, fort guns. The Mons Meg. These are actual real historical cannon. Another ship's gun. Probably should be bronze. I had the rest of that package, that bunch somewhere. Oh, here they are. Haha. Right here in this bag. The bag that I had in my hand. Duh. Oh, do I feel like painting any more tonight? Yes, I do, but also no, I don't. Tell you what, I'm going to paint these other guys. I'm going to put another coat of yellow on these musicians here. I got some other things I need to do around the house here, so I may just cut this short tonight. But we're only got another hour and a quarter of the show, so I mean I could keep going, I guess. All right, let's go ahead and see where it takes us. I just don't want to get burned out on a project, you know. I don't like getting burned out on things. Just like anybody else out there, it would be easy to get burned out on something. Even things we enjoy, things we love, things we have a good time doing, it's easy to get burned out. If it's all you do. Sounds like a perfect time to drink beer. I don't have any right now. I actually haven't had a beer for, a while. I thought about buying some this week, but I just didn't. I thought about getting a 6-pack, but I can make a 6-pack last a long time. Some people get them and they're gone as soon as they get them in, but I'm pretty moderate in my habit that way. Though I admire people to an extent that realize they have problems and decide to cut it out altogether from their life. That's a good thing for them. But I like to consider that there are people that have problems with it, and I try not to make it a focal point of this channel, even though I do enjoy a good brew. A good local brew, good craft brew, I really do enjoy. But I do try to not make it I would like, it'd be great. I mean, I don't have a problem with, like, I would like to do a beer channel thing, sort of thing, but also I know there's people that have had issues with it in the past, so I don't really. I try to avoid making too big of a deal about it here. I wouldn't want to be responsible for somebody to fall off the wagon, as the parlance See what happens if we mix a little bit of this ivory in with this yellow. Do some highlighting here. Of course, I don't feel like it's time to highlight any of this stuff yet. Kind of getting ahead of myself. Probably my dad, I forgot my dad's cousin just passed away Monday. Only found out today, my brother. I keep forgetting to call him. Oh, you should probably do that. That's too bad. Sorry to hear that. Yeah, he'd probably be happy to hear from you. Yeah, that's it's too bad. Oh, what's this? What kind of a bug is this? Almost looks like a tick of some sort, maybe. Huh. It's a weird looking bug. Might have been a tick. Weird. It didn't look like a bed bug. I don't have bed bugs. I've seen bed bugs, and it was not a bed bug. It looked more like a tick of some sort, but I would think I would find them more on me or the pumpkin rather than near me, unless it wandered in from outside through a crack in the wall somehow. You know, that's how bugs get in, is through little tiny micro cracks. We'll never see them. You know, they just get in. That was weird. Oh, let's see. So I did up these guys' yellow jackets. Let's see. They've got turnbacks and cuffs that I could do up. I really don't feel like doing the cross belting right now. You know? I don't know why. I just don't feel like... I mean, I'm 80% done with some of these guys. 70% done. I just don't feel like working on them anymore tonight. I want to work on something else. I want to do something else. But I don't know what. I don't know what. Actually, I do. Let's do this. Let's work on this mecha. Let's work on this guy from Tech Commander. Let's work on this dude. And what we'll do is we'll get some gray. We'll get a bright neutral gray. And we'll do another color on this camouflage here. Alright, so what I'll do, I think what I want to do is I want to do something like this right along there. I want to go up. And I want to go down, as though these lines are crossing. Hmm. Camouflage is a difficult thing to paint sometimes. Trying for more like a more splintered light sort of a look. Cool. Oh, just painting away here. Painting away. Let's see. What we got here? Hmm. All right. Well, 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven's a good time. 7-Eleven. 7 come 11. All right, let's see what we got here. Oh, let's see. Another little coat here. And a little bit more here, a little more there. I need to breathe while I'm doing this. Precision application of paint is a tricky thing sometimes. Especially when you're trying to make it look like one layer is a different layer than the other. With the green over the gray. I mean, I guess I could have gone with the gray over the green, but I want it to look kind of more like jungle dappled sort of light going through there, so I want the green in front of the gray. Do a triangle here, I think. That looks pretty good, if I do so say myself. Maybe something in here like this. There it is. Some pretty good camo going on there. So there's the legs. So next thing to do would be the chassis. A little bit there, and then the missile pods. But it's almost 7:30. I was going to try to make it till 8 this evening, but I think I won't. I don't know. Let's see what I can do with this Battletech mech here. Let's see. Grab a big brush here and see what it would take to paint this up. Let's grab a big old #1 brush, load it up. We'll try to use some of this paint that I put out here on the palette before I go. Let's do a big fat undercoat on this. I think this is a Zeus of some sort. I think whoever had this first was trying to do a zenithal prime. It's a good try. We'll let this rust color kind of show through a little bit. Kind of give it a overbrush, not so much a dry brush, just an overbrush. We'll let the details kind of push through. It won't be a pretty paint job, it'll just be a paint job. We'll go a little thinner up here so that it flows down into the recesses. This undercoat. It's kind of just a quick little base coat of this whole ugly thing here. That rust color is pretty strong. That pigment comes right through the gray here. And as you can see, paint's going on a little thick. That's okay. I'm not really too worried. This is going to be just a fun, quick, get it on the table sort of a thing. That is the paradox of paint. Now I know this is actually pretty thin, and when the water leaves it, it's going to suck right down to the surface, and the detail will be right back where it needs to be. Paint has good laydown. This Procryl does. Excellent laydown qualities. But you can see how thin it really is. You can see how it feathers off, see? So I am actually thinning it down pretty deeply there. Just looks like it's going on a little thick. But I got some things I got to see to this evening. So, finishing up a little early is probably not a bad idea. Well, that's fun. Set that aside. Alright, well, I'm about bushed. I think I'm going to call it. I know I usually like to go till 8 or so, get my 4 hours in, but I think I'm going to knock off a little early tonight. So, if you've been watching on all of these different places, Twitch, YouTube, and or Rumble, thank you for watching. Next time, don't be shy. Hop in the chat and say hello. Don't forget to like, share, and or subscribe if you haven't already. And let's see. On the Twitch side of things, if you're watching on the other platforms, come over to Twitch and make a donation to the 988 Lifeline. They help people that are dealing with crisis of various sorts. So there's that. You're more than welcome to make a donation. We're about $100 away from the goal that was set back last year, so it's taken a while to get there. About $100 short, so we got that to go. And then yeah, like I said, I got a few things I got to do tonight. I got up late today, really just in time to get started on the stream. So I'm going to take a little break. Not a break, but just I'm going to set aside myself, and yeah, just don't want to keep pushing because I'm just not feeling it tonight. So I enjoyed painting what I painted up, and I made good progress on my project for the July game for the Saratoga game. My club is going to be running, so check out my Facebook and Instagram if you want to keep up with what's going on there. I guess I could start writing up a blog or something. I don't know. There's only so much time in a day, right? So many hours in a week. And I have so much to do, and there's just me to do it. Anyhow, enough about that. Yeah. So, well, I guess that's going to be it for tonight. Like I always say, no matter how bad today might have been for you, the sun is coming up tomorrow, and the world is a better place with you in it. Keep on painting. Keep on playing. I think that's it for tonight. Good night, everybody. End of stream.